Welcome to Stoic Wisdom. Today, we're diving into a truth that most men overlook, one that silently destroys attraction, respect, and genuine connection with women. Thing 1. Never seek validation from her. Validation seeking is one of the greatest destroyers of attraction, and yet, it hides in plain sight. Many men don't even recognize when they're doing it. It comes in subtle forms, asking, "Do you still like me?" Over-explaining every decision so she won't misunderstand you. Needing her reassurance before you can relax. Fishing for compliments. Am I attractive to you? Do you think I'm funny? At its core, this isn't about love. It's about insecurity. It's about handing your sense of worth over to her approval, rather than standing rooted in your own self-respect. And here's what most men fail to see. Women do not want to become your emotional caretaker. The moment she feels like she is responsible for keeping you confident, the attraction begins to wither. She doesn't want to build your sense of worth. She wants a man who already knows who he is, who stands firmly on his own ground. How Stoicism connects. The Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, taught that a man's dignity must never rest on something outside of his control. And what is more outside of your control than another person's opinion of you? Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." This is the heart of validation seeking. You surrender your inner kingdom, your fortress of self-respect, and allow someone else to dictate your value. How to stop seeking validation. Detach from her reactions. If you say something funny, don't immediately glance at her to see if she laughed. If you make a decision, don't second-guess it based on her reaction. A Stoic man does what he believes is right, regardless of applause or criticism. Give validation, don't seek it. Instead of needing her reassurance, reverse the flow. Notice her. Compliment her depth, her effort, her character, not just her beauty. This shows strength because it comes from abundance, not neediness. Embody confidence, not arrogance. True confidence isn't about acting superior. It's about being secure, whether she approves or not. It's walking into the world with the quiet strength of knowing who you are. When you stop seeking validation, you stop handing over your power. And when you stop handing over your power, you become a man who commands respect. And respect is the soil where attraction naturally grows. Thing 2. Never put her on a pedestal. There's a common belief many men hold. If I treat her like a queen, she'll treat me like a king. It sounds romantic, but in reality, this mindset destroys respect. When you put a woman on a pedestal, you place yourself beneath her. And here's the paradox. The more you elevate her above you, the more she looks down on you. Attraction is not built through worship. It's built through respect. And no woman can truly respect a man who acts like she is his superior. The Stoic perspective. The Stoics believed all people, men and women, were equal in dignity because all share the same rational nature. Epictetus taught that you should neither exalt others too highly nor diminish yourself. To put someone above you is to forget your own worth. This is not about treating women poorly. It's about treating them as human beings, not goddesses. She doesn't want to be worshipped. She wants to be engaged, challenged, and respected. The dangers of the pedestal. You overcompliment her until your words lose all meaning. You neglect your own life because hers feels more important. You tolerate disrespect because you're afraid to lose her. At first, she may enjoy the attention, but over time, it suffocates attraction. A woman doesn't fall in love with a man who bows before her. She falls in love with a man who can stand beside her. How to stop putting her on a pedestal. Compliment with purpose. Don't hand out endless praise. Save it for moments when it matters, when she's earned it. A rare, sincere compliment carries far more weight than constant flattery. Build your own life. A man who has goals, hobbies, friendships, and a mission automatically balances the scales. He doesn't have time to worship her because he is too busy living with purpose. And this very independence is what makes him magnetic. Set boundaries. If she disrespects you, speak up. If she acts entitled, don't ignore it. A Stoic man values his dignity above approval. And a woman respects a man who respects himself. Stoic closing thought. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." If your only ambition is to please her, you have diminished your own worth. But if your ambition is to live with strength, wisdom, and integrity, then you walk as her equal, not her servant. Respect cannot exist on a pedestal. It exists only when two people stand shoulder to shoulder, as equals. Thing 3. Never lose yourself in the relationship. One of the greatest mistakes men make with women is this. They enter a relationship with a clear sense of who they are, what they stand for, what they love, what they dream of becoming. But slowly, without realizing it, they begin to sacrifice their identity for her approval. They stop spending time with friends. They drop their hobbies. They abandon their goals. Bit by bit, they trade away themselves in the name of love. But here's the truth. When you lose yourself, you lose her respect. The Stoic perspective. The Stoics taught that the highest good is to live in accordance with nature. That is, to live authentically, guided by reason and virtue. Epictetus warned against living to please others, because in doing so, you chain yourself to their opinions. In a relationship, if your world begins to revolve entirely around her, you've forgotten your nature. Instead of being a strong oak tree rooted in purpose, you become a vine, wrapping yourself around her for support. And what happens to vines without trees? They wither. Signs you're losing yourself. You cancel your plans just to be available for her. You hesitate to express your true opinions, fearing she'll disagree. You neglect your own growth, physically, mentally, spiritually, because you're consumed with her world. At first, she may enjoy the attention, but deep down, every woman knows a man who abandons himself for her cannot lead, cannot inspire, cannot protect. How to stay rooted in yourself. Protect your routines. If you went to the gym before meeting her, keep going. If you enjoyed reading, journaling, or creating, don't stop. These habits are not selfish. They are the foundation of who you are. Keep your friendships alive. A Stoic man values community. Do not abandon your brothers, your mentors, your circle. A man surrounded only by his partner becomes unbalanced. Stay loyal to your purpose. Every Stoic, from Marcus Aurelius to Seneca, emphasized purpose. A man without purpose drifts. A man with purpose inspires. Don't abandon your mission for her approval. Instead, invite her to walk beside you on your path. Stoic closing thought. Seneca once wrote, "No man can be free who is a slave to the opinions of others." If you give up yourself just to keep her, you are no longer free. You are enslaved by her approval. The irony is this. When you stop living for her and start living as yourself, you become infinitely more attractive, because true strength is magnetic. Thing 4. Never suppress your boundaries. A mistake many men make is thinking that in order to keep a woman happy, they must always agree, always submit, always go along with whatever she wants. They confuse keeping the peace with keeping respect. But here's the hard truth. A man who refuses to set boundaries eventually loses both her respect and her attraction. Why boundaries matter? Boundaries are not about control. They're about self-respect. They tell the world, this is who I am. This is what I stand for. This is what I will and will not allow. Without boundaries, you aren't loving. You're simply afraid. And fear cannot build respect. Think about it. Would Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, bend his values just to please someone? Would Epictetus, a man born a slave, endure years of hardship only to surrender his dignity in the name of approval? No, because the Stoic man knows that inner freedom requires firm lines. Signs you're suppressing boundaries. You tolerate disrespectful comments because you don't want to make a scene. You agree to things you dislike, social events, financial choices, lifestyle habits, just to avoid conflict. You smile on the outside, but on the inside, resentment grows. What begins as keeping her happy ends as silent self-betrayal. How to establish boundaries with strength. Know your values. Before you can defend your boundaries, you must know what they are. What do you stand for? What is non-negotiable in your life? Write it down. Live by it. Communicate calmly, not aggressively. A boundary is not a threat. It's a statement of dignity. Speak it clearly, without anger. For example, I value respect. If I'm spoken to with contempt, I will walk away. Follow through. A boundary without action is just a wish. If she crosses the line, hold firm. Not out of spite, but out of respect for yourself. Stoic closing thought Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Mastery of yourself includes mastery of your limits. When you ignore your boundaries, you betray your nature. But when you honor them, you radiate strength. A woman may test your boundaries, but she secretly desires you to hold them. Because a man who cannot defend himself cannot defend her. Thing 5. Never neglect your masculine frame. One of the most subtle but most destructive mistakes a man can make with a woman is losing his frame. What is frame? It's the mental, emotional, and spiritual posture from which you live. It's the calm authority you carry in how you speak, how you decide, how you lead yourself and others. When you lose your frame, you hand the steering wheel of the relationship to her. You begin reacting instead of leading. You let her emotions dictate your actions. You bend your values to her moods. And once that happens, attraction begins to dissolve. The Stoic perspective. The Stoics prized equanimity, the ability to remain steady no matter what storms came. Marcus Aurelius led an empire while facing wars, plagues, and betrayals, yet he wrote nightly reminders to himself. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That's frame. A man who keeps his frame doesn't crumble when she's upset. He doesn't lose himself in her emotions. He remains calm, steady, and rooted. Like a lighthouse, guiding ships through a storm. Signs you're losing frame. You mirror her moods instead of holding steady. If she's angry, you panic. If she's sad, you collapse. You make decisions based on fear of her reaction instead of conviction. You allow arguments to drag you into emotional chaos rather than standing firm in calm truth. How to maintain your frame. Control your breath, control your mind. When tension rises, slow your breathing. A calm body creates a calm mind. The Stoics practice this, pausing, reflecting, answering reason with reason. Respond, don't react. If she's emotional, listen, but don't get swept away. A Stoic man is empathetic without being consumed. He offers steadiness, not panic. Lead with vision. Frame is not about dominance, it's about direction. Know where you're going in life and invite her to join you. If you drift, she loses trust. If you lead, she can relax into your strength. Stoic closing thought Seneca once wrote, "If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable." Without frame, you drift endlessly, pushed around by emotion and circumstance. With frame, you stand as a captain, steady, clear, respected. A woman doesn't want to steer the ship. She wants a captain who knows the course, and the man who holds his frame earns her deepest respect and desire. The Stoic conclusion. Standing as a man of strength. Let's bring these lessons together. Do not seek validation. Your worth comes from within, not from her approval. Do not put her on a pedestal. Respect is built side by side, never from above or below. Do not lose yourself. Your identity, purpose, and friendships are the roots of your strength. Do not suppress your boundaries. Without lines, you lose your dignity. Do not neglect your frame. Without steadiness, you lose her trust and attraction. When you embody these principles, you are no longer chasing approval, affection, or validation. You are living as the Stoics taught, rooted in virtue, steady in storms, free from the chains of external opinion. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." And that's the challenge before you. Don't argue about what women want. Don't obsess over tricks, tactics, or manipulations. Instead, be the man who naturally commands respect through his strength, his wisdom, and his self-respect. Because when you live with dignity, when you hold your frame, when you walk in purpose, respect and attraction are not things you chase. They are things you naturally command.